Good evening, St. Louis, and welcome into the Billikens Central Postgame. I'm Matthew Rocchio, live courtside at Chaffetz as the women's Billikens team is getting ready to face off against UHSP. We also have an extra division battle here with the men's game that we're going to talk about today. The Billikens roll in record-setting fashion. They take down the Principia Panthers 114-33. That's an 81-point win for the Billikens, and obviously a discrepancy here. The Billikens, of course, rolling through their D1 schedule, starting 11-1 this season. Principia out of D3, outmatched in this game, and it started off early. In fact, let's just go into one of our sponsors in this Billikens Central postgame. That is, of course, our good friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, but also our good friends over at Home Bank. MyHomeBank.bank is where you got to check them out. This Billikens postgame brought to you by our business banking partners at Home Bank. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. It's not just about numbers when it comes to banking. It's about relationships. With Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit them at myhomebank.bank or right there, that phone number on your screen, 855-577-2001. And, of course, Home Bank brings us our money moment of the game. Home Bank, member FDIC, more than a bank, they're your business partner. Our money moment of the game, it's not going to be pinpointing a moment where this game changed, because the result of this game, while not exactly decided, was a fait accompli. We knew the Billikens were going to win this game in one way or another. So I'm just going to fast forward to the biggest play of the night, and that was about midway through the first half. Kellen Thames takes off and puts down one of the biggest slam dunks you'll ever see. It's on the Billikens Twitter right now. It's one of the biggest dunks you'll ever see. For me, easily, in a game like this where you have such a talent discrepancy, you're waiting to see a big play from somebody like Kellen Thames, and he had a couple other moments where you thought he was going to absolutely take the roof off of the Chaffetz Arena because he was going to put together a big dunk. That was the only big dunk of the game. I think the Billikens actually finished with like 5 or 6 dunks this game. Absolutely incredible. There's a lot of crazy numbers for this game that we're going to pull. We'll also be joined a little bit later on by Bob Ramsey, the voice of the Billikens. He's talking with Josh Schertz right now. Not sure exactly what to break into this game. I'll be honest. It was not a lot to take away from this one, because the Billikens were ahead by 40 pretty much from about 5-6 minutes in. Josh Schertz changed his rotations completely. Instead of actually throwing out rotations, he was just using hockey shifts for the first 30 minutes of a 40-minute game. It would go 5 slew players, 5 slew players, 5 slew players, 5 slew players. And it was a different group each time, and they just kept on running it back. So not a lot to take away from. Kellen Thames had been out for a couple games with an illness. He played tonight. Amari McCautry was ill tonight. He did not play. Kellen Thames, I thought, was fascinating. First 5 minutes of the game, he has 8 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Fast forward to his first 15 minutes of the game, and he has something like, let me get the first half box for Kellen Thames. In 9 minutes, he has 14 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. He finishes in 15 minutes of play. He finishes with a double-double, 14 points, 11 rebounds, and one of the most special things about Kellen Thames might be that he did it all while going 7 of 8 from the field. He missed 1 shot. It was late in the second half. It was a pretty easy layup, little bunny for him to make, and somehow that's one of the shots he misses. He was absolutely incredible, though. You're not going to be shocked by that. Kellen Thames going off against a team like this, when he's the athlete that he is, isn't going to shock anybody. But getting him back and healthy, that looked good. I'll be honest with you guys. The second grouping of the Billikens, and now they started a little bit different. They started with Deion Browns, Quentin Jones, Robbie Avila, Paul Otieno, and Ishan Sharma. The second group they rolled with was Thames, Trey Green, Brady Dunlap, Jax Kerr, and Cam Hudson. And that second group, which includes 2 true freshmen, was undeniably the better group tonight. Now, it's hard to lock in. It's hard to really lock in when you're playing this kind of game. So I'm not surprised that the bench guys actually had a better game overall than the starters. But really, the starters were sloppy. And it's hard to lock in on this game, but the shot selection wasn't great. They're jacking a lot of threes. They're not making a lot of threes. Not that the bench did that much better. Jax Kerr at one point was 1 for 7 from deep when it came to three-point shots. So not great shot selection, but I mean, it's hard to really, they didn't look as clean and as rhythmic as you would expect them to be against a team that they're so much more talented than. But at the same time, can you get in a rhythm? Is that fair to criticize the Billikens for not getting a rhythm? Jump into the chat here on YouTube, guys. If you think there were parts of this game that you think you can criticize the Billikens in any one-point game, please, I welcome you to try to come up with a legitimate criticism for this team. I'm going with the fact that at times they weren't getting in any rhythm defensively. They weren't getting any rhythm offensively. But, I mean, it's kind of like a batter going up against eephus pitching in baseball. Like, you're used to hitting 90-mile-per-hour pitching, and all of a sudden somebody starts throwing you 65-mile-per-hour curveballs. It's hard to time it and really lock in on it. So I'm sure somebody out there, I'm sure Shirts is going to try to find something to harp on these guys, the ball movement or what have you. But, I mean, there was a lot of moments where guys could have easily gotten downhill and they settled for easy shots. I'm not surprised that happened tonight. But if you want to find something to criticize, I guess it would be fair to criticize that. I put it in the header, and it's true. Just a record-breaking performance for the Billikens in a couple ways. The big one is, of course, 81-point margin of victory. Previously, my apologies, I'm working through that thing everyone else in St. Louis has right now. Previous margin of victory for the Billikens coming in this game was 73 points. That was against Harris Stowe back in 2021. They cruised right by that, though. And the Billikens now have a new program record for a winning margin, 81 points, 114-33 tonight against the Principia Panthers. Some other records that jumped out to me has to be 8 players in double figures. We saw it earlier this year. The Billikens set a new Chaffetz record by putting up 7 players in double figures. So I guess not program record, but a Chaffetz record. The first time in this arena that we've seen 8 different Billikens finish in double figure. Those Billikens, by the way, Paul Otieno, Robbie Avila, Dion Brown, Quentin Jones, Kellen Thames, Brady Dunlap, Jax Kerr, and Cam Hudson all finish in double figures. Every Billiken tonight scored except for one, and I'll leave that note here for just a moment. Jaden Shirts and Isaac Holmes, the walk-ons, both scored. Isaac Holmes finishes with 5 of 5 and 3. Love that for the big man. And then also Jaden Shirts, of course, the coach's son, finishes with 4 points, 3 rebounds, and he also hits a shot from the field. We always like it when the walk-ons get involved. There was a point. My apologies. There was a point when Jaden Shirts was wide open for a three-pointer, and he didn't take it. And the audible groan from the crowd was the second most reacted to moment in this entire game. The first being the Kellen Thames dunk I talked about a minute ago. The fact that Shirts didn't shoot that three, no one liked it, everyone hated it. But he eventually put in a layup on that same possession, and everyone thought it was kind of fun. Samuel Howe says, Principia is a known powerhouse, poll voters. Come on now. Yeah, this isn't a game we need to talk about really after today. It certainly doesn't need to be talked about when we look at the Billikens' resume for this season. One last thing, and again, we're going to go over a lot of this with the voice of the Billikens, Bob Ramsey, for a final 3 or 4 minutes of the show. When he gets here, Jax Kerr, the true freshman 7-footer for the Billikens, he plays 23.5 minutes alongside fellow true freshman Cam Hudson. He finishes this game with 12 points, 10 rebounds. He also has 1 block, 1 steal, and 1 assist, 1 steal, and 4 blocks for the 7-footer. But congratulations to Jax Kerr. That is his first collegiate double-double again. 12 points, 10 rebounds for Jax Kerr. His first collegiate double-double in an absolute rundown for the Billikens. Again, 81-point victory, the largest victory in program history. Talk about winning big. Well, you can win big with our friends over at DraftKings because, ladies and gentlemen, it's December. If you're watching STL Sports Central, you know what we're about here with our good friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. And that's about getting you involved in all the fun play because, Missouri, your moment is finally here with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. That's America's top-rated sportsbook app, and it is now live in our state. You can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more. I'm a big fan of the over and unders, especially when it comes to basketball games. And you can do it all from your phone, all safe and secure, and easy to use. Missouri fans know game day, the tailgates, the noise, the passion. Now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 on bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense. Just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code STL Sports. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code STL Sports. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
In a game like this, it was just really good.
And now we are back here on the Billikens Central Postgame, and I bring in my co-host for this back half, and that'll be Bob Ramsey. We're going to do a nice fancy lapel pin again. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. All fancy and stuff for
I
Bob
think I might
Ramsey.
just walk around with this.
There you go. No, don't walk away with it. No, don't do that. I need that for this show.
All right.
Matthew Rocchio joined here by Bob Ramsey. A crazy game. It's not a lot to say about an 81-point win, but your biggest takeaways.
I think that the biggest number one thing is you didn't play like you're at the rec center.
Yeah.
Because over my career, I've seen it many, many times when you have outmatched talent or unmatched talent, two different levels, that the game can get really ugly and it can be really sloppy and nothing is gained. And so the Billikens played very well and did what they had to do. I guess the one negative, didn't shoot the three very well, but of guys that are going to take volume three in a game, you were 9 of 21.
Not bad.
Which is
You'll take
good.
that. Yeah, it's
Which
pretty
is
good.
Because of guys who wouldn't, they were 3 of 18.
Okay, yeah. Not great.
And so I think it says when you start to break down the numbers, you're not going to have a regular game where Cam Hudson's in there and is 0 for 4.
Exactly.
Or Jax Kerr is 2 for 8. By the way, both will be good shooters.
Yes.
They're freshmen as they go on. And so you look at those kinds of things, and I even counted the anomaly of Trey Green 0 for 5.
Okay.
I counted that in there. 9 of 21, they'll take that every game.
Every game, absolutely. I thought there was one moment there early in the second half where it was the one time where Schertz looked a little annoyed, and the starting 5 had gotten a little sloppy, and I think he just kind of pulled the ripcord on it really quickly. That was really the only moment where I thought there was any sloppy play.
Yeah, and it was so brief in a game that was the Bills were dynamic. The other takeaway is how ridiculous Kellen Thames is. There's no question that he has the athleticism to play at the highest level. Will the rest of his game come along with it? I think eventually it will. He is he's really ridiculous. When you folks start looking at highlights, you'll probably put some out. I know number of places put highlights out. The steal of the inbound, a lob. It was an inbound lob.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
He went up and got it, threw it down.
Yep.
He's just a magnificent athlete.
What you really, and everyone knows it, and he gets that palpable moment when he gets the ball because he has the big dunk we already talked about. But then 2 or 3 plays later, he gets a steal here, and I say it, and I heard 2 fans behind me say it, go, oh, he's going to do it again. And that's the fun part about Kellen Thames is that you see that dunk, and then he gets an open court steal, and you're like, oh, my God, we're going to see it again. Like, that's the kind of fun that he brings to the game.
Yeah, so he had a double-double, and it was good to see Jax Kerr with extended minutes get a double-double. And these confidence-building moments for the younger players is another really good takeaway.
Yeah, I like what we saw from Jax Kerr. He was firing from deep, was 1 for 7 at one point, finishes 2 for 8, kind of the anomalous threes you were talking about. He is a good shooter. But, I mean, the 4 blocks, you see the defensive intangibles of him. Same thing with Cam Hudson. That was a guy who at no point looked out of sorts during this game.
Right.
And that's what I keep trying to tell people is, he has the pedigree. You know that he's been hearing all the Tom Izzo-isms from his dad since he was a little kid. So he's got that in his head. And out here he just looks like a solid player already as a true freshman.
Yeah, 11 and 6. Just really played well. And so I think the takeaway is, let's get into conference play. We're finished with this nonsense. Let's get it going.
That's the big thing there, and that's Samuel Howe pointing out there in the chat. Let the conference season commence. Big game on New Year's Eve coming up. St. Joe's, they just lost one of their leading scorer, so obviously a little bit of a different matchup than we would have expected, but big conference season coming up. A lot of big non-conference overall schedules for the A-10.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of had a big slip-up at one point or another, but nonetheless, George Mason, DCU, Dayton, there are legitimate games that can make you a tournament resume coming up on this conference schedule.
Yeah, and the other thing, when you start to break down math and probabilities, you got to win your home games. Will any team go 9-0 at home? Well, VCU expects it.
Yep.
Dayton probably expects it. Are we at the point that St. Louis University expects it? I think we're pretty close. So if you can go, if you go 9-0 at home and only a couple of losses on the road, there are several teams, the ones you pointed out, that's sort of what they're forecasting for themselves, and that's what's going to make it fun.
And obviously, I mean, we keep talking about it. You talk about it with shirts. What does the next tier of this team look like? We all know they have it. But defensively, I think we've seen that next tier. Offensively, it still hasn't happened. And when it does, that'll be special. One of the examples is that tonight, like you said, Trey Green goes over. He's the only, thank you very much. He's the only Billiken that doesn't score a point. Something tells me that will not be the case against St. Joe's.
And he's been averaging 15 points a game his last two. So, and Coach brought up a point about Trey. Later in the game, he had a few minutes with the walk-ons and a couple things, and he didn't go hunting his shot to make his average. He facilitated and kept everybody playing the way Coach wants them to play.
Last thing here, obviously it was a cool moment. The three best friends since the Indiana State game. They've never actually got onto the court in a game together before. Jaden Schertz, Isaac Holmes, and Robbie Avila finally got to play together. A lot of fun to watch.
And Coach Schertz mentioned it. It was unbelievable. His son Jaden said, you know, in 4 years, we've never played, meaning he and Isaac, with Robbie. And then Jaden told his dad, I think playing with Robbie will unlock us.
Hey, Isaac Holmes, 5'5" 3. He was balling out there. He looked great.
Yeah, they were unlocked.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Jaden clearly has the coaching mind just like his dad does.
I think maybe so.
All right, that's Bob Ramsey. I'm Matthew Rocchio. This has been the Billikens Central Postgame. Billikens with a record-setting 81-point victory over Principia, 114-33. But again, the season starts now. It's conference play, and it starts against St. Joe's at New Year's Eve here, excuse me, in Chavetz Arena. 3 p.m. coming up on New Year's Eve, which means you can start the postgame over on 104.1 with Rammer starting at 2:45. That's coming up this week. We're finished here for the weekend. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This has been the Billikens Central Postgame on STL Sports Central. Have a great day, St. Louis.